Welcome inside to Heck Edmondson Pavilion, Bank of America Arena, where tonight the USC Trojans at 5-3 play the Washington Huskies at 5-5. Good evening, welcome to the Saturday night basketball Pac-10 matchup. I'm David Locke along with Bill Kruger. The Washington Huskies are a program in transition under first-year head coach Lorenzo Romar. But one thing has become very clear, Bill, and that is it's a good defensive team.
Well, that's a trademark of Lorenzo's ball clubs, whether it was at St. Louis or Pepperdine. Tough, hard-nosed, man-to-man defense, and eventually he's extended that defense, and they can really run off of turnovers. That's going to be important in today's game. They weren't able to convert. They caused 29 turnovers against UCLA. They weren't converting, but if they make some shots tonight, they got an excellent chance to win the ballgame with their pressure.
The defense has really been good night in and night out. 29 turnovers forced, as Bill mentioned, against UCLA. So look at the other games. Northridge shot just 35% in the second half, and Houston, 15 steals by the Huskies. Now, the USC Trojans are a team vastly different than the team that beat the Huskies twice last year by large margins because they've lost their big three and they've turned it over to a bunch of young guns.
Oh, yeah. You lose Sam Clancy, a #1 pick, to the Philadelphia 76ers, David Blumenthal and Brandon Glanville. You're talking 46 points a game, and those trio really carried the USC Trojans to 2 tournament appearances, 1 to the Elite 8. Now, it's tremendous wing players. Athletic, very quick. A trio, there's more than really 3. There's actually another guy that we'll be talking about. That's Eric Craven's brother, Derek. But these 3, they put up the points. They put great pressure on the defensive end, and they can fill it up. Great three-point shooting trio.
Local player is back home, and that's Roydell Smiley.
Out of Garfield High School, Roydell, a JC transfer. He's been in double figures 7 of 8 ball games and is shooting almost 49% from the 3. Very athletic. This kid has made a nice transition to Pac-10 play. He looks like a good one.
This is going to be an up-tempo, running, fun basketball game between the Trojans and the Washington Huskies. The Trojans have absolutely great desires to go 2-0 on a road trip to open up the year, whereas the Washington Huskies have absolutely no interest in starting the year 0-2 in Pac-10 play. It's the Trojans and the Huskies, and it's coming up next on Fox Sports Net. The newly renovated Bank of America Arena here in Seattle, Washington, home of the Washington Huskies. David Locke along with Bill Kruger. Night 2 of the Pac-10 season, and this is where seasons begin to get defined. Should be very exciting. USC got a nice win to open it up against Washington State. They look for the 2-0 road trip. Henry Bibby's done a remarkable job with this team. He's the head coach of the Trojans. They won 20 games back-to-back seasons for the first time in more than 60 years, 3 tournament berths, and maybe more importantly, they are 46-20 over the last 2 years. Done a remarkable job. Now, their starting lineup is something that Henry Bibby changes on a regular basis. They've not had the same starting lineup in much of any game all year. They've got a nice new front court. This is replacing the big guys. Rory O'Neal's averaging 10 points and 6 rebounds. He's at 6'11". Nick Curtis is really a rebounder, leads the team with 7.5 boards a game. Now, the backcourt is what Bill Kruger talked about in the open. The 2 Cravens twins, Eric is number 22, Derek's number 24. Eric's game is a little further along right now than Derek's. And Desmond Farmer in the middle dropped 35 on Washington State in their opener. He's averaging 17 points a game. The Washington Huskies coming off a loss to UCLA. Lorenzo Romar coaching against the team he used to be a member of. On that staff, you know, he's got a little extra blood flow going when it faces USC because of his UCLA ties. Now, the Huskies have found a nice consistency in their starting lineup. Anthony Washington, Mike Jensen, both after a year off last year, are freshmen in the front court. And Doug Wren was the All-Pac-10 newcomer last year, All-Pac-10 first team as well, but his scoring is down 7 points per game. On the other end of things, the backcourt, Will Conroy stepping up, has become the leading scorer of this team. He has 14 points a game. And Curtis Allen, Bill, 15 points a game over the last 4 games. Seems like he's finally in a rhythm.
Yeah, he's starting to get used to being a 2 guard. He was so used to having the ball and creating his own offense. Now he's letting it come to him, be more of a spot-up shooter.
This ball game is a matchup of 2 teams that play a little bit different styles, both great defensively, but one that wants to push it. The Washington Huskies want to slow it down a little bit, so that gets to our first key, which is game tempo.
Yeah, this is going to be more about how the Huskies manage the tempo. SC is going to come in waves. They're going to push, they're going to break off the made or the miss. It's a matter of the Huskies choosing when to attack the USC press, when to pull it back out.
young kids on both of the benches. Will be interesting to see how they each react.
Yeah, the USC club, very deep, very athletic. They go 11 deep over 10 minutes of play per game. Washington can't go with that. They lose Jeffrey Day to academic ineligibility. Anthony Washington is a question mark with a bad ankle, so that's going to be a real issue. Can the Huskies control the tempo of the game and, of course, get from production from the bench?
You may have noticed the last key points off turnovers. In other words, the defense get the turnovers, you got to complete the job. Huskies get the opening tip. And as has been the case a lot recently, they see a zone defense. Doug Wren with the penetration and his own rebound. The first foul of the game is called on number 24, Derek Craven. Call it on the rebound, so the Huskies will inbound.
A good slashing look by Doug Wren. He's got to look to get his offense going. They need him to be the big star in this ball game.
Mentioned he's shooting now just 38%. Jensen with the opening bucket of the game. Mike Jensen, freshman out of Covington, Washington.
Nice job of finding the hole in the zone against on the out-of-bounds play. Nice play by him.
So the pressure defense that has become the signature of Lorenzo Romar's short era here at Washington. And Derek Craven drives in. Second chance opportunity now for USC.
He is ultra quick. You got to remember, he's a left-hander. He set Curtis Allen up really well and actually got by him with the left hand. Both he and Desmond Farmer can really pound it with the left hand. Go to the hoop.
Farmer here had the 35 points in the last outing, many of them from behind the arc as he launches this one. No good, an offensive rebound for Nick Curtis.
And that's his game. He's a great leaper and a great offensive rebounder.
Neal at 6'11", mirrors his game after former Trojan Ryan Scalabrine. Turnover. Now points off turnovers. One of our keys. Kicks in right here.
Great weak side help by Conroy to tip that ball.
Again, a zone defense. Curtis Allen is the best three-point shooter, zone buster. Huskies get a little sloppy with it, turn it over.
Good job of transition defense by the Huskies.
Whistle and Mike Jensen whistle with a foul.
Well, actually, a clean strip on the first attempt. It was the second time after the ball got loose that Mike picked up the foul. It was actually a pretty good position in this part.
It's two young teams. It will be interesting to see how each reacts to their second conference game. O'Neal is getting many more minutes this year, hits his first shot. He's averaging 10 a game after just 4 last year.
He can really shoot the outside shot. He's still working on an inside game. And this is what you're going to see a lot of. If USC can make buckets, they're going to come out in full court pressure almost every opportunity.
Washington blocked by O'Neal, but gets his own rebound. Allen's the best three-point shooter, but short with this one. Here comes the running game.
Got numbers.
Farmer stripped away by Conroy.
Will Conroy's done a nice job of getting his hands in plays and getting hands into passing. He's really caused that play to be broken up in another play where he got a steal early.
Craven off to his brother Derek for his first two. It's nice for Derek Craven. He's really been struggling coming off a game without any points in 16 minutes against the Cougars.
Had a stress fracture, missed most of last season, so his game is still sort of developing.
Conroy with having a hard time handling. Whistle and a foul, and this will be on Derek Craven.
And again, like we talked in the open, David, it's a matter of choice. They're going to see that pressure. They're going to have chances to attack. They have to choose when to attack and when to pull the ball back out.
Second foul on Derek Craven. Conroy blocked by O'Neal.
Leads the team in block shots.
Another transition opportunity. Nick Curtis pump fakes the defense, but can't finish the job. Here come the Huskies the other way with arguably the fastest player in the Pac-10, Curtis Allen, all the way to the basket. He can't finish as well.
$1 million move and a 10-cent shot, but it sure was pretty. That great behind-the-back transition dribble by Curtis Allen. What a play.
We said it in the open, it's going to be a running up and down basketball game. Right now there's a lot of running, not a lot of finishing in the opening 3 minutes.
Still feeling
Derek Craven maintains possession, gets himself a second opportunity and scores.
Derek Craven.
Huskies break the press now, make that choice. This time it's a 3-ball from Wren. No good. An offensive rebound. Conroy in the trees gets it swatted out by Curtis. Now the quick hands of USC, and on the run, here comes Eric Craven with a flush.
USC can really get out. You've got to protect on the defensive end and make sure somebody's back, or they can hurt you with the fast break.
Another 3 attempt. Short again. Jensen with the offensive board. The Huskies have started the game 1 for 10. Doug was unable to finish it. But fouled, he'll get free throws. The Washington Huskies are 1 of 10 to start the game tonight.
They've been real aggressive on the offensive glass. I think they've been a little quick taking those shots, David, against the press. That's dangerous, but they've done a good job of scrapping on the offensive glass, keeping some basketballs alive, just like Doug Wren did right there.
Trailing 8-2, Washington head coach knew this is not, Lorenzo Rumar knows this is not where he wanted to be against USC.
I think it's very important that we get off to a good start. With USC's quickness, they can go out on a run. You talk about spurts. We don't want them to have a spurt in the first 5 minutes, because now it's an uphill battle for us. We kind of got behind and had to expend a lot of energy in the UCLA game to try to catch up. And we came back a couple of times, but I thought we ran out of gas at the end. We don't want that to be the case against the Trojans.
Doug Wren hits 1 of the 2 free throws. Now a half-court set where Washington gets to use their defensive prowess. Eric Craven, who's a great one-on-one player, really a slasher, as is his brother Derek. And Derek gets all the way to the basket, and Derek Craven, after a goose egg in the points column last game against Washington State, has really come out well today.
Yeah, Rudy likes to break guys down off the dribble. Doesn't have a great offensive game. You've got to give him room. Keep him in front of you.
Zone defense.
As much as I've seen of USC, they are almost exclusive zone.
Conroy from the elbow.
There's a lot of rhythm to the shooting. They're not moving the ball well and getting guys into rhythm.
Inside O'Neal. And the USC Trojans have hit 6 of their opening 10 shots. Lead this one 12-3, and Lorenzo Romar needs a 20-second timeout to get his guys regrouped a bit.
Yeah, clearly the tempo is all USC. They forced the Huskies to take quick shots. Is what they really want to do, and get out and run. Right now the Huskies just need to get back into their set offense, get an inside pass, kick the ball out, and get a shot off a rhythm where people, that is, teammates know when you're going to take the shots and they can attack the glass.
From Henry Bibby's standpoint, he's got to be ecstatic about everything he's seen, trying to push the buttons, and he's got a guy like Derek Craven. Didn't play particularly well in his first start of the year last game, and now today comes out and plays, and the continuing development of Rory O'Neal.
Yeah, O'Neal put on 35 pounds. He's not a guy that can play down the low block, but a tremendous outside shooter and good footwork. Henry Bibby says he's like a sponge. He's learning quickly. He's going to be a great inside player in the Pac-10.
Very soft-spoken, mild guy at 14 points and 8 rebounds, along with 3 blocks against Washington State. He's a math major. Actually, most people expected him to go to Stanford, and he kind of spurned the Cardinal for the Trojans. It was a recruiting surprise.
You know, you got to level out that GPA average. You got to bring in a few guys like that.
GPA or points per game average, which is more important?
Well, you know.
Trying to get some better ball movement. Huskies somewhat absent of a post presence with young players like Anthony Washington and Mike Jensen. Curtis Allen penetrates, turns it over. Huskies make their substitution. Nate Robinson getting ready to check in along with another freshman, Bobby Jones. But first, we've got a timeout. As the USC Trojans have really taken it to the young Huskies here at Heck Edmondson Pavilion early on. They lead at 12-3. Washington Husky fans with great creativity in their outfits. I think that's the way to phrase it. Creativity.
It's fair.
So far, not much creativity for the Huskies on the floor as they're trailing the USC Trojans 12-3. The Craven Show is in town. Derek and Eric, the twins, and both playing outstandingly well.
Well, this has been kind of a coming out party for Derek Craven, who missed most of last season with a stress fracture, but has had a nice start. And his brother Eric can get off to the races with the left hand for the slam, and he can really get to the basket. He's a well-known commodity in this league already.
And realize USC gets another set of twins next year, Lodrick and Roderick Stewart from Rainier Beach High School here in Seattle. Derek Craven is the right-hander. Eric Craven is a left-hander. Interestingly enough, Lodrick and Roderick split that as well. One's right-handed, one's left-handed. Battle for the boards, tied up between Eric Craven and Bobby Jones. Jones, the freshman from Southern California, the Long Beach Poly. A nice game against UCLA.
And his minutes are going to go up with Jeffrey Day unable to go because of academic difficulties, and that's going to be a big loss for the Huskies. His long reach and athleticism and jumping ability are going to be sorely missed up front.
There's Eric Craven, the left-hander using the left-hand dribble. And the shot is good. Cravens have 10, USC has 14, and Washington has 3.
We talk about those two left-handers, Farman and Craven. You've got to get over in that left hand. They'll keep going until they hit the out-of-bounds stripe to try to turn the corner.
A steal by Derek Craven. And a whistle and a foul on the Huskies trying to stop the fast break.
Just like on Thursday, David, the Huskies really struggling against the zone. UCLA came with the matchup. They kind of stood around, really didn't know how to attack it. Now again, struggling with zone offense, and they didn't see a lot of zone in the preseason. They're going to see a lot this point forward until they can make some shots and attack it a little bit better.
What's interesting is the Huskies are the second best three-point shooting team in the Pac-10, and yet still susceptible to the zone. Why is that?
That's a good question. They just need to learn how to attack it, how to get an inside pass or a good penetration for a kick.
Conroy leading the break. It goes over the top of Derek Craven, and an offensive foul called on Will Conroy.
Offensive foul number 5, Will Conroy of the Huskies, his first personal foul, 13 foul.
The duo of Craven and Craven doing a great job of disrupting passing lanes, and they're really dominating the ball game so far.
It's the 5th turnover on Washington. They're the ones who forced the 29 turnovers. They're getting the better end of it. Here comes Eric Craven all the way to the basket. And USC is just running by Washington right now.
Both these guys are all about penetration. Both Conroy and Allen got to get off their guys, that being the Cravens, and give them some room. Make them make shots.
Jensen forces with a left hand, Nate Robinson. Looked for the follow, but couldn't get it. 5'7", Nate Robinson almost followed that one in with a flush. Instead, USC comes the other direction. And a foul on Washington. Well, the high-flying act of number 2, Nate Robinson, just about brought this place down.
Again, a little open court situation. Jensen with the drive and the hook, and look at this little man coming from nowhere. Unbelievable leaps. Too bad he couldn't have finished that one, but you know, it doesn't take long for Nate Robinson to have an impact on the game.
That's the type of play you wonder if it will spark something. It was just a high-energy play the first time Washington's had something like that, while USC has just been working at will. But Nate Robinson's got to get back in the rhythm, Bill.
Yeah, those 3 games were when the football season was kind of on its downhill after the Pac-10 play had finished, and then as the up-ramp toward the bowl, his numbers went down. It's all about mental concentration. You can't blame him. He had to get ready for the Sun Bowl. It was hard for him to concentrate on both sports. He's put the shoulder pads away now. You just got to suspect it's going to get better and better.
Jensen throws up an air ball, USC to run again. And cornerback Nate Robinson comes out to knock that pass away. Is it feasible to expect Nate to be a 30, 35-minute-a-guy night once he gets full-time basketball?
Yeah, I think he's got to get there. They obviously have 3 really quality guards in Allen and Conroy and Robinson. They're going to rotate them, but I think as it goes along, Nate Robinson's going to get the lion's share of those minutes. He's going to have to play the 2. He doesn't have enough time at the point in the Pac-10 to really run the 1, so he's going to have to play, alongside Conway or Allen at the 1.
Does he ever start?
It's a possibility. He's got to learn more. He still hasn't learned the whole offense and defensive schemes of the Huskies because he spent so much time on the gridiron.
Shot right there from Smiley, another Seattle product. Roydell Smiley, Garfield High School product, misses the shot. Nate Robinson and Derek Craven are getting into a little physical battle. There's Roydell Smiley. There's Nate Robinson and Mr. Craven in their little battles. Nate's wiping off his mouth. He took an elbow, and you see Derek Craven's wiping off his nose. He took one as well.
Yeah, the football aspect of the game just got introduced.
This one's beginning to feel a lot like the USC Washington football game score-wise.
Well, the USC Trojans playing spurts. The Huskies just need to hang on and start making some shots.
O'Neal mentioned he mirrors his game after former Trojan Ryan Scalabrini, and that's including an 18-foot jumper from the left side.
He shoots it a little better than Scalabrini does.
Nate Robinson for an NBA 3. Another big rebound for USC. Here comes Derek Craven. Smiley's 3. Curtis with the offensive rebound, and the tip-in is O'Neal. And the Huskies are bystanders right now while USC is playing a footloose and fancy free fun pickup game.
Curtis and O'Neal attacking the offensive glass at will.
22-3. A 16-9 rebounding advantage. Jones draws the foul. Nate found his trampoline somewhere again and came in looking for the follow. Jones will get 2 free throws. The shooting is just tells all you need to know. The score tells the story, 22-3. But the shooting right now, 6% to 48%.
Yeah, it's been total domination by the Trojans. This Trojan ball club, very athletic, put a lot of pressure on you, and those 2 Cravens can really push the ball. They are quick end to end.
Free throw from Jones is good. Remember when you saw his numbers against UCLA, what the coaching staff was most impressed with about that was it was his first conference game. Lorenzo Romar said after, he was really the guy that didn't look to be bothered by the fact that he was playing in a big crowd here at Heck Edmondson Pavilion and playing against UCLA. We're talking to both Anthony Washington, Mike Jensen, 2 other guys who were there for the first time. They both commented on the size of the crowd, the magnitude of the game is kind of unnerving them a little bit. He's a solid player. Maybe coming out of Long Beach Prep, he's used to big atmospheres, but Bobby Jones showed a lot to the coaching staff.
Yeah, he's probably played against a lot of those guys in pickup games, and so UCLA's just not that big a deal for him.
Another second chance for USC, and they patiently reset. Now at point guard is the former Oregon State Player of the Year, Brandon Brooks.
And he is the heir apparent to Brandon Granville. He will be the point guard for this team. He just needs to get a little more time on the floor. He missed all of last year getting his grades right at Compton College. He played 1 year at JC ball, and he will be the guy.
Turnover on Washington. There's a timeout on the floor, and the Washington Huskies are getting whitewashed at Heck Edmondson Pavilion. Their 6th turnover right there. USC is clicking on all cylinders. It's 22-4 Trojans. The USC Trojans are putting on a little exhibition so far. 22-4, 10:28 left here in the first half. And Washington Huskies, who had an offensive struggle against UCLA, shooting just 33%, have opened the game 1 for 15 today. Have been unable to get their defense to create any offense for them.
And I'm sure that's exactly what Lorenzo Romar is talking about. He's not concerned that they haven't shot the ball well. He's more on them about defending their perimeter plplay, cutting down penetration, and those second chance points on the glass and kill them.
Nate Robinson goes to get the board. 5'7", 2-sport star, bounces a beautiful pass to fellow freshman Bobby Jones.
Good decision by Nate, held up at the free throw line, nice bounce pass.
That is the first field goal for the Huskies since Mike Jensen shot in the opening moment of the game. Foul will go on Bobby Jones.
And as you spoke to me about, David, Nate Robinson has freedom against the break to go ahead and attack it with the dribble, but he made a solid decision. Good 2-foot stop and a nice bounce pass for an easy 2 for Bobby Jones. That's a nice decision by Nate.
Coaching staff thought this could be a night where Nate could get back in the rhythm because of the way USC plays, where UCLA with their long arms really made it very difficult for Nate.
Exactly.
Misses, rebound comes down to Anthony Washington, but he can't find his footing. And the 7th turnover on the Huskies. Anthony Washington kind of limps out a little bit. You see him grimacing. Well, he was in a boot yesterday and did not practice. He tweaked his ankle against the Bruins.
He was limping around during pregame shooting, so he's not 100%.
Real no good. And Nate Robinson, 5'7", again with the board, and creating more offense to his fellow freshman again, Bobby Jones. And little Nate has created a little activity inside Hackett for the Huskies.
All of Magic Johnson, but about a foot shorter, takes it off the glass and goes coast to coast, goes up amongst the trees, and it just attacks the Trojans. Bobby Jones, another great athlete, running alongside. That's classic fast break, great lane fill by Jones, good ball control, and a nice finish.
Jones at the free throw line, all created from Nate Robinson. Nate Robinson, before he even took a final, in his college career, people were talking about him being the greatest athlete in the history of the University of Washington. It seemed outlandish, but then you watch plays like we've seen in the last 2 minutes, and maybe you understand why. And the Husky defense creates a 5-second violation. Second turnover on USC. I mentioned USC is a team of runs. Nate Robinson and Washington maybe make the run to answer right now.
We talked about Nate Robinson not playing the 1. Well, he's playing the 1 now. He's running the show at the point.
Turnover on the Huskies. Eric Craven, a nice bounce pass out to Brooks. And strongly against Anthony Washington, the little man. 6'1" and 170, taking it up against about 100 pounds more, and Anthony Washington strong enough to finish.
You understand why this guy was the 4A Player of the Year from Jefferson High School in Portland and why he was the top-rated JUCO point guard 2 years ago. Brandon Brooks knows how to score. He's not just a passer. That's a great finish.
He had a very nice game against the Washington State Cougars, 9 points and 5 assists.
He's starting to get minutes. He had a nice game against LaSalle before Christmas, and with Hutchinson out with the bad ankle, he's getting more time, and he's starting to get, accustomed to playing in the Pac-10.
Trojans. Interesting lineup by Lorenzo Romar here. You have Will Conroy, Nate Robinson, and Curtis Allen all on the floor with Bobby Jones and Anthony Washington, really almost 4 guards.
Well, exactly right. With USC going small, the Huskies can do the same, and that's really makes them better defensively with the 3 guards out there.
Look at that penetration. Conroy just did there.
That's a good look, just didn't go down.
Shoots 39% from 3, so you gotta like it if he takes it if you're Lorenzo Romar. Hasn't found the range yet. Alley-oop to Curtis.
That's a design play. They ran the pick and roll and swung him back underneath and lobbed the ball up for Curtis. He is an electric jumper. Great design play.
Any momentum that Nate Robinson created has left the building as USC has answered, back up 26-9. And on the run again, 3-on-2 break. Good patience, Smiley, but he had a foot on the line. Lorenzo Romar will have to take another timeout. USA may be a team of runs, but right now they're on about a 12-minute run. And they are doing it with some great athleticism, Bill.
Yeah, this team has got some quick jumpers. They've got, of course, the great wings. We talked about them. This is a set play where they run the dribble rub and then run Curtis on a back cut behind the defense, and he's got quick hops. That's a great pass and a great finish. Henry Bibby has a lot of little set plays. You've seen him run the doubles for O'Neal to the corner. He's made a couple of jump shots. They run a lot of pro stuff. That's Henry Bibby's style.
Henry Bibby quoted in The LA papers today saying that Nick Curtis has more tools than Sam Clancy.
That's a pretty bold statement. Sam Clancy's a pretty good player. 19 points and about 9.5 rebounds, the third leading scorer in the history of USC. That's a pretty tall order.
And Henry Bibby's not the type of guy who gives out those types of praise very often. Now this one has been all USC, and the numbers do tell the story. 16% shooting from Washington, while USC shooting 45 points in the paint. Screams at you, 18-4.
And that's about penetration. The Cravens, the Brookses, they've been able to get inside the defense, and that's been the big problem for the Huskies. They have not controlled penetration.
Jones unable to finish. Here comes Farmer. He's been silent after his 35-point game. The Bulldog from Garfield, Smiley, can't finish the three. Nate, such a different player in the open floor compared to the half-court set. Just the bundle of energy, but couldn't finish anything in the mix. Well, at 5'7", sometimes there are limits on what the athleticism of Nate Robinson can really do. Lorenzo wants to talk to him about it. Trojans 28, Huskies 9. Huskies trying to create some turnovers with a trap of their own.
You know, 1-2-1-1 press has been pretty effective so far from us.
Doug Reynolds, the defensive assignment against Farmer.
Problem is you got to make a shot, David, to go into that press.
Great point. And so far, the Huskies have made just 3. Brooks, 3-ball no. Bobby Jones gets the rebound while Farmer climbs his back, and that'll be a foul on Desmond Farmer. Flint, Michigan came all the way out to USC to play his basketball. He got 16 starts as a freshman when Jeff Trapani was out suspended, and just 5 last year. Seemed to be back in his groove. And, well, all right, back in his groove is an understatement when you hit 7 of 8 threes and score 31 points and a half against the Cougars on Thursday in Pullman.
He's an explosive player. You know, he finished the end of the season, the Pac-10 tournament, and then into the NCAA tournament, averaging about 17 and a half the last half dozen ball games. The start of this year, a lot of his struggles have been that he's been trying to allow some of the other players like Smiley and the Cravens to develop their game, and he's been sometimes waiting too long for his game to get going.
Oregon versus Washington State Player of the Year is here, matching up at point. Brooks from Oregon, Nate Robinson from Washington. Nick Curtis powers through the defense for a bucket and the foul, and a technical foul has just been called. I haven't seen who it's signaled on. Brandon Brooks of USC just got the technical foul. So Brendan Brooks gets the technical. Nick Curtis will still have a free throw to shoot. He'll shoot the technical foul first.
Obviously said something after he got bumped on the pass.
Watch, he's number 0 right here. Watch Brooks number 0. Back in the back of the screen. And there you see he turns to the official and obviously had a magic word or two.
All about discipline. You got to keep your mouth shut, play the game. You got a huge lead.
Conroy hits both free throws to make it 31-11.
But clearly you can see this guy's got great vision. He's going to be a great point guard in this league. He's just got some things to learn. Got to grow up a little bit.
And that gets him a seat on Henry Bibby's bench. It's a place where just about every Trojan will be at one point along the way. It's the way Henry Bibby coaches. The slightest indiscretion and you end up spending some time over there.
Yeah, he's not afraid to sit guys down.
As one columnist wrote, what other people call abuse, Henry Bibby calls love. Doug Red hits the three. Just the Huskies' 4th field goal in 24 attempts.
Doug's really got to make his presence felt in this game if the Huskies going to climb back in.
Doug's first field goal in 3 attempts.
A lot of splits, a lot of dribble rubs, allowing those wings to attack.
Run many more sets than most college teams. Most college teams will run a motion. Uwvideo will run a lot of picks, a lot of on ball.
A lot of set plays, like the program.
Smiley can't finish. The ball goes out of bounds off the Trojans, and Lorenzo Romar pleased as his defense exerts itself a little bit.
Good job of hedging all those splits and keeping those wing players from penetrating, keeping them in front of you. That's the key thing. Good defensive sequence for the Huskies.
Now a 1-2-1-1 press that USC runs, similar to what Bill was talking about with the Huskies. Conroy able to finish some penetration. The Huskies leading scorer has his 4th point for his field goal. Third opportunity for USC, and Curtis will go to the free throw line to shoot 2. And you mentioned it early, Bill, that they run right out of makes. That was a great example. Eric Craven just came straight at you, even though they were taking the ball out of the basket.
And that's why they're getting mismatches on the offensive glass. Dribble penetration by the Cravens has really broken the Husky defense down. And we're talking about good defensive players like Will Conroy. We've not seen anybody turn the corner on Conroy all year long. And I'll tell you what, Eric Craven has had his way as far as penetration is going so far in this ball game.
First free throw is good.
Does that really count as a bank of free throws?
Still goes in the book. Still goes in the book.
Has to call glass, I hope so.
It's a good point you make about how it changes up the rebounding situation, because there's no reason when you look out on the floor at the size of the players why USC should be crushing the Huskies so badly on the boards right now, other than the fact they're getting mismatches down low through the transition.
You get the penetration, you got to go help. That means your man has a free angle on the glass. That's what's going on. The bigs are helping, and they're losing identity.
Number 5, Will Conroy, leading scorer for the Huskies. At the point with Allen and Robinson, the guards right now, and Wren, last year's leading scorer, able to create some activities. They're spreading the floor a bit better now.
Well, that's the way Doug has to play. As much as he wants to share the basketball and do the things that make him a good teammate, he needs to find the openings, and when he gets the basketball, be instinctive and attack the seam. And that's what he did right there.
One thing that has been a struggle for Doug Wren this year has been his free throw shooting. At just 44%. The first one is good. Eric Craven, see him down on the ground there. He and Anthony Washington, as it was a front end of a 1-and-1 with the screen out. I think Washington accidentally got him with an elbow up in the throat.
Well, they got to find some way to control, slow down Eric Craven. Maybe that's the way.
Eric Craven looking all right there. Eric has 6 points. Doug Wren makes both free throws.
Oh, that is so much better. I'll tell you what, he's had so much movement in his free throw. I think where he's at right now, he's going to get that percentage back up in the 7.
It's just 2 of 7 his last game against UCLA. Farmer, not anywhere close. He left the 3 in the Palouse.
Yeah, I'll tell you that 7 of 9. His percentage was somewhere in the neighborhood of 9 of 32 going into that game. So he hasn't been shooting really well all year.
Farmer trying it again. An offensive follow, no good. That time by Dupree, making just his 2nd appearance of the year. The Huskies are within 14 despite being whitewashed for most of the game, but a turnover here gives USC another opportunity in the open floor. And O'Neal from Craven for 2.
And that's his game. Great step out on penetration and a quality spot-up shooter is Rory O'Neal at 6'11".
USC jumped out early, 18-3, and Huskies been trying to fight back and can't. Robinson no good with a 3. Here comes Eric Craven. And finally, double dribble. Didn't have any tricks left in his bag. He used the crossover, the hesitation, everything else. Last thing left was a double dribble. USC up 16 right now as Washington tries to find a way to fight back, but has not found any rhythm. USC Trojans opened on an early 18-3 run to take a 15-point lead. Since then, it's kind of been back and forth, each team trying to get a grasp of it. Nobody has, and it's 34-18 USC. Now, Bill, in our open of the broadcast, we talked about Lorenzo Romar as the new head coach. As the new head coach of the Washington Huskies, his defense is his signature. The half-court offense hasn't been any good. And you know what? That's really been playing out so far, because you see USC shooting so far in this ballgame just 39%, but Romar's club is not getting any transition points.
Exactly. They haven't gotten those easy buckets, and when they've had to set up against the zone, they've really struggled.
And now they end up back in the half-court set here.
Interesting little twist. They put Nate Robinson in the middle of that against the half-court trap to see if he could kind of get in there and make a play.
The Huskies are a team that defensively create their offense. And when they don't, they have possessions as they just did right there as Conroy misses. And Will Conroy goes to 1 for 6 on the day.
That's where they've struggled. When the guards have penetrated, USC has good shot blockers that have really caused Conroy and Allen to adjust their shots, and they've had a hard time.
Quick 20-second timeout taken by Henry Bibby in reaction to something he didn't like. There's something very exciting going on here at Heck Edmondson Pavilion. It's called the Romar's Rowdies, sponsored by 950 KJR as well as Fox Sports Net. Here's the deal. You get to sit in this section of rowdy, crazy fans for just $13, and you receive a t-shirt. You get your tickets for Romar's Rowdy section by calling Husky Ticket Office at 206-453-2200 and asking to be a part of Romar's Rowdies. Lorenzo Romar trying to get the students back into it, get the fans, the diehard fans back into it, and having a great deal of fun. The t-shirt, pom-poms, the whole bit, and get that crazy section like they have all around the Pac-10 and the pit, down at Maples Pavilion and those various places. Recreate the atmosphere at Heck Edmondson.
And it's a good point. I mean, you look at before Montgomery came to Stanford, that was kind of a tomb. They weren't very good for a long time, and Oregon struggled for a while. And I think the formula with Oregon bringing Ernie Kent back, a former player, the same formula here at Washington with Lorenzo Romar, and I think he has the passion to be here for the rest of his career, and that's why he's going to be successful.
Foul on Nate Robinson. That look on Lorenzo's face doesn't make you feel like he thinks he's going to be successful at this moment, down 16.
Probably not, but that's all part of the building process, unfortunately. This is a tough league to build in.
Lorenzo was quoted the other day saying, John Wooden told him, recruit quickness with as much size as possible, not size with as much quickness as possible. I think probably both teams fit into that.
Exactly. They're very similar clubs. I think USC just a little bit more polished and a little deeper.
Robinson in that new spot in the zone trap that Bill mentioned, can't make the shot. The rebound comes out to USC, who seemingly have gotten every loose ball. It just seems stronger with it. Turnover though. Ooh, hard foul by fall by Will Conroy. He was fouled before by Rory O'Neal. On the other side, Craven trying to put his shoe back on. He was so out of control, he came out of his shoe.
Again, Huskies on the attack. Got tangled up with the Cravens as he's been the whole game long. It's been a physical ball game. Couldn't quite finish it, but he's a tough guy. He's used to playing lots of playground basketball, lots of contact. That's nothing new for Will Conroy.
Conroy just 1 of 6 today. Free throw no good. Go back to the starting lineups we had for you today, or actually the players that have been on the floor. Didn't have in the starting lineup. 3 Garfield High School players today. Not only Will Conroy, who's made the incredible jump this year to 14 points per game, and Anthony Washington, who's on the floor right now, number 30 for Washington, and number 1 for USC. Smiley is a member of that team as well that won the state championship. Turnover created by Conroy. Doug Wren is fouled. They're deciding whether it's goaltending or not, and they're saying it's not. Ball was on the way up, and Doug Wren will get 2 free throws instead.
Again, when the Huskies are able to set up their 1-2-1-1 full court trap, they've had a lot of success, David. They just haven't made many shots to be able to set it up. But again, a nice step in after the initial trap, creates the turnover, and Doug Wren almost able to finish that.
It's really, think about what you're saying here. It's really creates a team that goes on runs, because if you can't set up the 1-2-1-1 trap, it's because you didn't make the basket. And if the only way you're scoring is by setting up the 1-2-1-1 trap, then you get into an evil set where when you don't get it set up, you don't score. But when you do, you get to go on 10-2, 12-2 type runs, and that's exactly what happened against UCLA, where they got on. There were 3 or 5 runs in that game, 3 for UCLA and 2 for Washington, and the Bruins won by 10.
Well, here's a situation with a little over 2 to go. If they can get it down to 10, you know they're going to shoot a lot better the second half.
Well, they set it up again and get another turnover. Points off turnovers is one of our keys. And Washington is fouled, and they'll go to the line.
I like the last 5 or 6 minutes from Doug Wren. He's been active. He's attacked when he's gotten the basketball. He drew the defense right there. That was an exceptional pass over the top to Anthony Washington. Nice play.
Points off turnovers right now, which is one of our keys I just mentioned, is 12-2 for USC. Washington has not been able to finish when they have created those turnovers. And Washington, who is not a particularly good free throw shooter, goes to the line right here, just 40% on the season. Anthony Washington sat out last year, went back to Garfield High School for a 5th year to finish up his grades and get everything taken care of. I talked to him for a while. It was a tough experience, almost embarrassing, he said, but he's stronger because of it. And this is both of those free throws right there. The Huskies 9th in the Pac-10 free throw shooting. Nate Robinson with a foul on Farmer.
Got caught in a pretty serious mismatch as Kevin Calabro aptly calls the mouse in the house, even though Nate can jump. That's a tough mismatch with Desmond Farmer in the block. That's a lot of size differential.
Coming up at the half, we'll have a first half analysis. Bill will break down a little bit for you what's taking place. Then Pac-10 scoreboard, a huge night out of a Pac-10 veteran. Give you that little clue. And highlights and leading scores all coming up at the half here on Fox Sports Net. The free throw down does make the second one. Second, he made both of them. 4 from the line today now for Farmer. And USC's back up 18. There have been about 3 circumstances here where you thought USC might be on the ropes a little bit. Washington able to get back in the ballgame, but they showed great resolve for a young team to stretch it back out to 18.
Again, just not able to convert those turnovers.
It all started on a 18-3 run by USC. Doug Wren working in the post where he was so effective last year.
That's a good look. They got Doug down in the block against man-to-man, and he's tough when he gets a one-on-one opportunity.
Doug Wren with 9 points and 5 rebounds today. Conroy with a strip. Another turnover. Suddenly the Renzo Romar's crew is starting to take the ball away the way they did against the Bruins.
Will Conway will bring all of the game, no matter what. If he's not shooting well, he's still going to be active on the defensive end. His hands have been busy. He's created some turnovers. He's going to bring it, no matter what, even if he's not shooting the ball well.
D-Hud, David Hudson at the free throw line. He's their marksman. Great shooter, sophomore. He's from Rainier Beach High School, which is the same high school as Lodrick and Roderick Stewart, who will be heading to USC next year. And Nate Robinson, freshman for Washington.
9 field goals, all 3-pointers. That's his first point away from the 3-pointer this year.
USC able to break the trap this time. And Farmer lays it in.
Great look by Brandon Brooks. He's going to be a great point guard in this league. Nice drive and nice kick to Farmer.
You really can see the control he has of the game. Inside to Doug Wren again. Ken Boone, assistant coach in Washington before the game. You know, Doug said to us the other day, you know what, I am a post-up player. As David Hudson takes the charge, and the fact that Doug Wren kind of was the one that came out and said, you know what, I really am a post-up player, is a sign he's buying into the system. I think you're going to see Doug's numbers continue to get back up to where he was before. That's the 4th foul on Brooks. A lot of control there as David Hudson takes the foul.
Again, he gets in a situation against man-to-man. Good patience. USC with shot blockers. He's able to get the pump fake, get him flat-footed, and go back up. Doug Grant has a great feel in the block.
Mentioned the report, Brandon Brooks with 4 fouls. It's been a rocky day for him. He's looked great at times. And got the technical foul in the exclusion. The marksman, David Hudson, off the bench for the 3 ball.
10 out of 15 from the 3. He can shoot it.
That's all he ever does. He's just shooting. Anytime you ever walk in the gym, he's shooting. Pressure defense. Missed the travel. Washington clears the board. 5 seconds left. Conroy to the basket. No call. It's the layup. The half comes to a close. The Huskies are as close as they have been since this ball game was 12-2. A surge to close out the half. Means we've got a second half of basketball that's going to have a little bit of tension to it. Lorenzo Romar's crew may have just sent a little shockwave through USC, but the Trojans were outstanding in the first half. They lead 40-30. It's halftime at Heck Ed. Getting ready for the second half here, Bill. Any adjustments made by either side, or were they all made earlier?
Well, I'm sure that the USC Trojans got a talking to about losing a big lead and taking ill-advised shots. On the other side, I think Washington's coming off a little run. They got back in the game. They're controlling penetration. That's going to give them a chance to control the glass, those 2 issues, and make a few shots.
Well, they hit 8 of their final 16 after hitting 1 of their first 16 to start. But Wren is stripped here. Derek Craven gets taken right back by Allen, and that's a travel by Farmer despite all the hustle.
There's an issue where Doug Grant is trying to do too much. It's very difficult to try to dribble against his zone defense and make plays. You got to be patient. Look for holes, step in there, but then Curtis Allen, quick hands. Both he and Conroy and Nate Robinson, they can really cause havoc with their football.
9 turnovers by USC, 10 by Washington. That's evened out. Points off turnovers, though, have not. USC still with a substantial advantage. Backside!
Huskies got to move the ball quick. More skip passing against the zone. They're allowing the zone to adjust. There's a skip, a very soft one.
Conroy able to penetrate, can't finish it. And then bounces it to Tommy Nunez, the official.
Right now, between Robinson, Allen, and Conroy, they are 2 for 18 from the floor. And a lot of those are dribble penetration shots where the big fellas have intimidated them.
Shooting still USC at 39%. That's a sign that Lorenzo Romar's defense is doing the job, and Henry Bibby probably wants to change that a good deal. Free throws a huge advantage to Washington. 18 attempts compared to 10, but they haven't converted. And Bill, the 3-point stats are an interesting one because USC has not hit one yet.
They haven't been rhythm 3-pointers. Smiley and Farmer have kind of fired at will, and a lot of that's been good defense by the Huskies. When they've gotten their set defense, they've done a good job of defending the 3.
Rebounding USC with an enormous advantage, and that has led to a points and paint advantage, 22-12. Points off turnovers is one of our keys. USC up 12-6 on that. Both these teams play trying to create the turnovers. The question is whether you can reap the benefit of it. Anthony Washington with the foul, and agree, obviously.
USC, when they've run their set plays for Henry Bibby, they've gotten really good looks. There they ran the dribble rub, made an exchange with a double inside, brought O'Neal to the box wide open for an easy shot. Gets a 2-shot foul.
How come this is unique in college basketball that Henry Bibby runs so many set plays? Why don't other teams run so many set plays?
You see a lot more motion in college basketball because you have more time to get a shot, and it allows interchangeable parts. Well, that's just not the way Henry Bibby plays. He likes set plays, he's a pro guy, and that's the way they play.
Both free throws are good by O'Neal, who has 12 points. His high this year is 22 against Fullerton. And so much of this game is in the second half going to be one of runs, largely because both of these teams are able to put on a trap that has been very effective every time they make a shot.
Again, better ball movement by the Huskies is going to get them the kind of openings they're looking for. A skip pass and create a 2-on-1 on the weak side against the zone.
They're using all of the 35-second clock here. Conroy finally penetrates with 10 on the shot clock. going to probably have to go to work with 4. Allen, 40% three-point shooter this year, but not close with this. And Allen is 0 for 5, now 0 for 5 on the day, and 0 for 4 from 3.
The twins out front, Derek and Eric Craven, just dominating the front part of that zone. The Huskies are unable to really get inside the zone because of their play.
You know, the great thing about USC is next year you can say the 2 twins.
That's true.
They have Roderick and Roderick Stewart from Rainier Beach here in Seattle, heading out that direction. Washington, great defense, 18 feet away. Nick Curtis cut off Mike Jensen beautifully, but Jensen shows the athleticism that had him as the #1 power forward in the West when he came out of Kentwood High School, and he finishes that one and keeps the Huskies within 10.
When you miss 2 years of basketball, it shows, but there's just moments where Mike Jensen shows those flashes. Again, this is a great defensive sequence. Nice job by Anthony Washington on one-on-one defense against O'Neal. And then at the other end, he looks like he's completely trapped, no angle, and makes a great athletic play to score. Nice play by Jensen.
Curtis inside, foul, he'll get 2 free throws. Nick Curtis is really showing what a special athlete Henry Bibby believes he is. 6'8", 220, sophomore out of Oxnard, California. I love this quote from him, "I just try to grab every rebound." And you saw it right there.
He's not interested in really getting offense set up for him. He'll just get his own offense by going to the glass.
In high school, he averaged 20 points and 15 boards a game.
He's just real quick off the floor. And that's where the Huskies really miss Jeffrey Day, because he's a very similar player. And that's been kind of the match they haven't been able to get because of Day's absence.
Curtis played just 113 minutes last year as a backup Clancy. And you see him now suddenly have 10 points and 8 rebounds today. This is a guy that the next time the Huskies and the Trojans meet, probably on a totally different level. His game's going to evolve every week. Doug Wren couldn't finish. Here comes USC, a 12-point lead. They still don't have a three-pointer all game. Eric Craven couldn't make that one, and a nice box out leads to an over-the-back foul.
Even though the Trojans were able to break the Husky press, that was good. That's what they want, the outside shot from Craven. They want to keep the Cravens from penetrating. Let them take the outside jumper.
O'Neal, that's his 3rd foul. No foul trouble in this game. USC's backup point guard, Brandon Brooks, has 4 already. Nate Robinson checks it. Number 2 sends a few people flailing.
Again, when Nate gets it, he's allowed to go into the zone with the dribble. He's still learning. He hasn't really had the chance to learn all of the offensive defensive sets, and they want him to be instinctive right now.
Is there enough practice time every week for him to get that?
Well, it's finally one sport, so at least that's going to give him a fighting chance to learn the system.
This is the 3. Conway keeps it alive. Doug Wren with a powerful finish. 6'6", going up against the 6'11" O'Neal, and rose above him.
That's a great rebound. He is playing like Doug Wren the last 10 minutes. He's been much better.
Last year against USC in their second meeting, he had 29 points, 12 of 22 shooting. Today, Doug has 13 on 4 of 7 shooting. Left-handed Farmer trying to get his way into the basket. Doug Wren leads the team in blocks, gets another one.
Great defensive sequence. Took Farmer's left hand away and then a great shot.
8 on the shot clock. And Jensen gets caught playing defense very far outside.
Look at Doug Wren getting after it here, never giving up, and then just super strong, going right over the top of a 6'11" guy to score. And then at the other end, nice job of sealing the baseline, keeping Farmer from turning the corner, and then a great block.
Pretty special hops and athleticism in both of those plays. And the ability to use it in the frame of a basketball game. So often we get enamored by athleticism that is not used well inside of a basketball game.
You can be a great athlete, but this is still a highly skilled game.
Another set play. Neal runs down off a pick, getting the left block. And Travis.
That's timeline. We have a time on the floor, 15:50 on the left.
A few minutes in the second half, and nobody has been able to make any inroads on what that 10-point advantage USC had in the first half. So it's still 10, 44-34. USC leads Washington 44-34. So much talk around the Washington program has been how Doug Wren's points per game is down from 20 last year to 13 this year, but Lorenzo Romar, head coach of the Huskies, has a different perspective on it.
To Doug's credit, he's tried to share the ball. And what people don't see is he's sharing the basketball, he's rebounding, he leads our team in block shots, he's defending better, he's doing a good job for us, and that scoring is going to come. He was a born scorer, so he knows how to do that.
Huskies break the press. Travel!
Good decision. They didn't have anything, come back out and run your set offense.
Number 5 here is Will Conroy. He leads the team in scoring, but has not got it going yet today. Big, powerful rebound from Anthony Washington. Lorenzo Romar and Ken Bone went to go scout a high school game yesterday. And they said, Ken Bone said the drive home was talking about how excited they are about Anthony Washington. This is why.
Well, you know, he's playing on one leg. I mean, he does not have 100% because of that bad ankle, but this is a terrific rebound. Catching the Trojans a little flat-footed. They've shown a little fatigue, and Anthony Washington attacking the offensive board. The Huskies are doing better on the offensive glass this second half.
His free throw shooting has been a bit of a nemesis for him. Just at 40% coming into the night, but hits this. He's 1 of 3 on the day now. I mentioned that USC looked flat-footed. They did have to fly. It's the one road trip where you have to fly in between games, Pullman to Seattle. And Washington has been here the whole time. The second game of the road trip is always more difficult for the road team in the Pac-10. Saturdays are good days for home teams usually. Craven out of control, and they call a block. No, they call the charge. Anthony Washington on both ends.
Outstanding job by Anthony to step in again, controlling penetration, stepping in and taking that drive away. Again, Derek Craven going too deep. Anthony Washington stepping in, giving his body up for the team. Great offensive charge play.
4th foul on Derek Craven, and Brooks already has 4 fouls. And this team plays such an aggressive defense that makes it difficult for them to maintain that. 8 points is as close as the Huskies have been since the opening moments where they missed 15 straight shots after making their first. Nate Robinson foul. And they'll go to the free throw line.
And the Huskies against the zone have been using Anthony Washington as a screener on top. There he was able to pick off one of the Craven twins and create an open opportunity for Nate Robinson. Nate hasn't made shots, but he has not quit shooting.
67% free throw shooter this season. Everybody wonders how Nate can hold up playing 2 sports. Started 6 games at cornerback for the Washington football team. The story is he went down to El Paso only playing 1 sport and was walking around to everybody like, hey, you want to play foosball? You want to play ping pong? Let's just go do this. See what we can do here.
Yeah, he's a built for competition guy. Loves it. Has an abundance of energy.
This is the second free throw. Both Rick Neuheisel and Lorenzo Romar, Rick Neuheisel, head football coach for Washington, talk about just how he impacts everyone around him and adds a buzz to it.
Well, he certainly lifts this Husky team, even if he's not making shots with his energy.
Huskies extending their pressure. Derek Craven with 4 fouls. Crazy shot by Smiley, but an offensive rebound for O'Neal, much of the way in which USC got a great deal of their points in the first half.
Anthony Washington fell asleep on the defensive glass.
Doug Wren in the post with such outstanding body control.
Great move.
Washington. USC maintains possession.
Doug was trying to catch him.
Doug Wren back in the post. It's very much a story of this game from about the 10-minute mark of the first half. He had not been there for most of the year, and it really was going to take until Doug Wren decided he was going back in the post, and he has done that. Talking with the Husky coaches, he had said to them, you know what, maybe I am a post player. And a sign to them that Doug had bought into the new system. Foul before the shot on Will Conroy, no basket. USC's offense, Bill, early on was rolling. They're struggling. They're suddenly laboring. What's happened?
The Huskies doing a much job keeping. It may have been a block, but it looks like O'Neal got him with the body. There's a reason why Romar was upset.
A 7-point game. The Huskies have whittled down a deficit that was as many as 18. Huddy for three. Got it.
Great move to bring him back in the game. He made a big three at the end of the first half, and you have to honor David Hudson. He spreads that zone out.
D. Hud is now 11 of 17 on the season. And the Heckhead, Romar's, Rowdies are on their feet. USC is now playing on the road for the first time tonight. Nate Robinson, perfect position defense with the steal. Jones can't finish. Loose ball whistle on USC Smiley. Enzo Romar has some magic pixie dust that he puts on the Huskies as he opens the second half.
And I think a lot of that is that Nate Robinson usually doesn't start the game, but ends up getting into the second half a lot earlier, and you can see his presence in the second half so far this evening.
Roydell Smiley now has 4 fouls. Just 1 of 7 in his homecoming. Bobby Jones can't get it in, has to take a timeout.
Timeout called by Washington. This will be a full timeout.
Full timeout by the Washington Huskies. They couldn't get it in now. But this ball game started with USC opening on a 21-3 run, while the Huskies missed 15 straight shots. Since then, Washington has just been a woodwork, whittling it down. And now all of a sudden, David Hudson from 3, and we've got a ball game with 13-11 left. The Trojans are up just 4. The USC Trojans lead the Washington Huskies here at Heck Edmondson Pavilion on the campus of the University of Washington, 46-42, 13-11 left. Now, Bill, there's 2 things going on right now. The USC Trojans are playing without their point guard. Robert Hutchinson, their senior point guard, is out with an ankle injury. The other thing we talked about in the open, they lost their big 3 in Clancy, Buchenthal, and Granville. Now, how does Henry Bibby's young kids now react to this?
That's what they're going to find out. They're a pretty young team, and right now they're standing around, going one-on-one, watching guys go against the defense with dribble penetration.
Nate Robinson high in the air, pulled out the inbound passes. The Huskies struggled to get it in. Delaney's foul as penetration, and will go to the line where he has been very good today. 4 of 6 after coming in struggling badly with 44% shooting.
I tell you, that count was getting down again, but Nate Robinson showing his defensive secondary skills to really bail the Huskies out, and then Doug Wren catching and being instinctive and slashing to the gas. That glass, that is his strength.
Doug Wren at 5 of 7 for the free throw line today, a 2 of 7 performance against UCLA.
I think he's made major improvements. All that dipping and the side dribble are gone. Simple delivery, much more solid, looks great, it's going down.
He was here in the arena starting at about 3 o'clock today, shooting free throws. He has paid off. 2-point game. Foul on David Hudson. You are seeing USC without their regular point guard, Hutchinson, and with Brooks out with 4 fouls. And it's evident whenever they try to break the trap, you can almost watch each of their wing players who are having to play the ball carrier look to the other one to try to get the job done.
Yeah, when they don't run their set plays, they get to stand around watching each other go one-on-one with the dribble. Brandon Brooks was able to make plays for him.
Farmer finds the range that he had in the second half in the Palouse. 35 points against Washington State on Thursday, 31 of those in the second half. He didn't do anything in the first half tonight. Now he's got his first 3 there.
And that is their first 3 of the ball game.
1 of 10. Hudson missed this one.
Not on balance.
Jensen with the foul, that's his fault. Foul trouble's becoming an issue. For Lorenzo Romar, it's 4 fouls on Jensen. 3 fouls on Nate Robinson, freshman Bobby Jones, and freshman Anthony Washington.
Number 30, Anthony Washington checks in.
Washington check in for Jensen. For USC, with 12:25 left, they have Brooks, who is currently on the bench, and really maybe their only point guard with 4 fouls. Smiley with 4 fouls, and O'Neal, their 6'11" inside center with 4 fouls. Curtis hits the free throw. Put USC back up 6. So far they've answered this little surge by the Huskies and stayed in control.
Another point about Robert Hudson, he's not really a pure player, but he's a great shooter and he's a senior. And he gives them stability. Shoots 55% from the floor, 59 from 3, and they can really use him right now.
Soft pressure this time by USC, maybe in reaction to the foul trouble. Robinson with a jump stop.
Again, nice screen by Anthony Washington against the zone, allows Robinson the opportunity, but then, boy, does he make something of it. What an athletic play.
He's 5'7".
Unbelievable.
His shorts are 4'3". Farmer with a left hand.
He's a streaky player. You got to get in front of that left hand because he'll kill you. He'll keep going until there's no more room on that left side.
When the Huskies practice their zone trap, breaking it at USC as Robinson draws the foul here, they specifically had this. Balls would come into that corner where it came in right there. If Nate Robinson gets the ball, he's the one guy they wanted to attack and then as dribble through it. The rest of the guys they wanted to pass through it. And Robinson's becoming very valuable now with that ability.
And he's so quick with the basketball. We saw that little sequence where he got inside the zone and was able to make a great athletic play. Plus, he doesn't know all the nuances of all the different sets. So they'd rather have him be instinctive than to be on his heels trying to run the offense.
And this is the first of a 1-and-1 free throw situation. The Washington Huskies are 15 of 25 from the line. David Hudson reaches in and commits a foul. Strong drive from Derek Craven.
Also number 52, David Hudson, his second personal foul. 18 fouls. Number 5, Will Conroy checking in for the Huskies.
Ryan checks out. Will Conroy checks in. Derek Craven goes to the line.
David Hudson hasn't had a lot of minutes. Shows a little bit of the defensive end. Gardner, the Craven twins. And when they get the basketball, you should get off and give them some room.
Derek and Eric Craven, the 2 twins who played at Montgomery High School in Torrance, California, won 2 state championships. They live together, they have the same classes, they have the identical schedule. They are as close as can be. Their mom, Sonia, kind of said, well, wait a sec, aren't you too close? And what are you going to do when you grow up? And they said, we'll just get a house down the street from each other. They don't have any plans to separate. They were a package deal when they came to USC, and they are now leading the way as USC has extended their lead back out to 9, 55-46 at Heck Edmondson. William, Nate Robinson's keeping the Huskies in the game. On how you break the press, finishes off with Anthony Washington slam dunk.
Great decision by Bobby Jones. Didn't slow down, got himself under control, made a nice pass.
Ends a Trojan 9-2 run. Farmer. See if he has the second half mojo going. Nate Robinson. The Huskies have answered a 9-2 Trojan run with 401 of their own.
Getting good quality shots. USC not getting good quality shots.
Brandon Brooks with 4 fouls back in, trying to organize things, playing the point. He's the Oregon State Player of the Year, wears number 0, 4-letter O. Curtis traveled but fouled first.
When USC runs their offense, they get good results. Again, they ran the little dribble rub with the exchange on the bottom. The Huskies switched the exchange, and that allowed Jerry Dupree to be wide open, and he made a nice kick into Nick Curtis, who draws the foul. Again, good set offensive play by USC. When they run their offense, they get good stuff, David. When they don't, they go one-on-one and get bad shots.
Curtis, the free throw line has been very good there. Misses this. It makes you think that USC, with only one real senior, Hutchinson, gets a lot of time on this team, and then they also have, Harisis, who plays a little bit but not a lot. But Bibby's team is really going to start rolling. This is a set offense team with more so than motion. Time is to their advantage. This team really could be playing well by March, and next year could be scary.
They're very athletic. They like to run, so they're going to make some mistakes, but they have to understand when they don't have something, they need to run their offense.
Doug ran wide open 3 ball. Tried to guide it home and could not.
I mean, he's wide open there, but I would much rather see Doug Wren in the paint, in the top of the lane, in the pinch area.
Nate misses the same 3.
Again, his shooting touch has been off. I think he still needs time to play more basketball.
Foul there on David Hudson as Brooks seems to maybe have settled things a little bit. Hudson is a sharpshooter, as we call him. That is his game. He's a 3-point shooter, and defensively he's a tough matchup.
Yeah, he's 5'11", he's not big, he's not tremendously quick, so Lorenzo Romar knows when he plays David Hudson that he's giving up a little bit of the defense.
The Huskies, David Hudson has been their 3-point answer today. He has 2 of their 3 threes, otherwise they're 3 of 15 from 3. And the reason I mention that is Brooks makes the free throws because in wins this year, Washington has shot 48% from behind the arc. In losses, they shot just 27%. And to review what I just said, they are 3 of 15 behind the arc today. That's the script that they've had more often than not when Lorenzo Romar's club has lost. They had 2 wide open looks on the last possession.
And 2 of 12 against UCLA. That's going to be their Achilles heel if they can make shots from the outside. It's kind of interesting that what are these clubs 4 for 26 from the 3? Who says the 1990 is too close?
Both free throws are good by Brooks, and USC showing some maturity from the back. Nate Jensen going for the big slam is fouled. If that's on Brooks, that is his 5th. It's not. It's on Dupree. The long-armed Jerry Dupree playing in his 2nd game this year. Junior.
Nice
thought he had it.
Press offense, and that's exactly where Doug Wren should be against the set, against the press or against the zone. Put it up there by the free throw line extended where the hole is, and that way he can slash and attack or make a great pass as he did to Mike Jensen. Why play him on the baseline at 20 feet, David? I don't understand that.
Jensen, 59% free throw shooter. Hits this. Talked to Mike Jensen about the year off and how it's impacted him the other day after practice. And he, I'm thinking too much. I'm not playing. And I've got to slow down. Right now I'm too quick because I'm thinking about I should do this, I should do that, I should do that. It's speeding me up where if it comes naturally, I'll slow down a little bit.
And it's harder too because when you're the focal point of the offense in high school, you just play. But when you play as a role player, you have to be able to work and be a complementary player, and sometimes you do have to think a little bit more.
Curtis Allen now in defending Brooks for Hudson. Craven. Eric with a good rebound. Mike Jensen. Big rebound. And then he traveled.
Not much Mike could do. He made a great rebound, but bodies underneath his feet. Very difficult to keep your balance.
If you spend any time around the Husky program, at some point one of the coaches will start talking about how excited he is about Mike Jensen and Anthony Washington. There have been glimpses tonight that explain why. That rebound right there was one of them.
He's had a couple of nice plays. He's going to be a good player.
Garner, a nice pump fake. Doug Wren with another block. Here comes Nate Robinson. 3-on-1. He's got Jensen on the left. Conroy on the
solid play by Nick. Didn't try to do too much. Gave the angle to Will Conroy and a nice finish.
Boom! Farmer with the answer three.
You know, he can shoot it over the backboard or he can knock it down, David. You just never know with Desmond Farmer, but he is streaking.
They rule it a 2, an 8-point lead for USC. Nope, they call it a 3. It's his second 3, excuse me.
And Doug Ware hiding on the baseline. I'd much rather see him up where Mike Jensen is.
USC now with a chance to bring the ball in back to a 10-point lead. Farmer again. Powerful rebound by Curtis. And he's fouled. Nick Curtis. Quite a force inside. That is the 5th foul on Mike Jensen. And the Huskies without Jeffrey Day due to academic ineligibility now will be without Mike Jensen for the final 8:24. And Anthony Washington on a leg and a half. Finish this one out. He has 3 fouls.
Heart and effort are definitely there for Mike Jensen. Just needs more time in the court. He's a freshman.
Nick Curtis, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Nick Curtis is a sophomore. He played only 113 minutes last year. He played and practiced Sam Clancy. This guy is going to be outstanding. You can see what his next jump's going to be. It's incredible. Are we also seeing Mike Jensen a year from now? Nick Curtis may be more athletic and maybe, just a year behind in the process.
And that's where Mike is just going to have to struggle through some of these growing pains because he's having to learn in the line of duty. It's tough. You can't sit back and watch an All-American play in front of him and learn from him in practice.
3 ball. No, that would have been a dagger. 2-on-2. Conroy forces the action. Nate Robinson tries to follow with a jam and can't. Washington's got an extra foot on him. He followed it home.
If he got upended at that dunk, that should have been a foul.
7-point, very physical game here. We've got a little under 8 to play. USC basketball.
We have a time on the floor, 7:45.
This one's heating up. USC, though, has never relinquished the lead. Staying in control, they lead by 7 with 7:45 left. It might be the Huskies' house. USC's lead is 62-55. There's no question whose paint it is. It's USC's Nick Curtis. In the midst of that huddle right there is the sophomore who has set a career high with 13 rebounds. And there's Nick Curtis. He's looking for his next rebound, but neither of these teams, Bill, has played well down the stretch in close games.
The majority of their players are underclassmen, and that's part of the experience factor that both these clubs are going to struggle with. If you get a lead or you play in a tight game, can you close it out?
Find out another learning step for Lorenzo Omar and Henry Bibby's clubs. The junior Desmond Farmer, an upperclassman, decides, I got a little experience under my belt. I've started 21 games coming into this season. I'll answer. Put USC back up 9. Curtis Allen just can't find the range yet for 3 all day. He's now 0 of 5 from behind the arc, and the Huskies dropped to 3 of 16. David Hudson with 2 of them.
Yeah, he's a big part of how they beat zones. Curtis Allen has had a poor shooting night, and he's been on the bench for quite a while. It's tough to come in cold and make shots.
Allen scoreless. So here defending Randy Brooks, who averaged 15 points a game over the last 4. Second half is Farmer time. Dupree goes over the back on a Brooks miss.
Nice defensive sequence by the Huskies. They were able to fight through screens and keep dribble penetration out of the paint.
7 minutes left in a game in which USC held a 22-3 lead to start. The Huskies hit their first shot, then missed 15 straight. Over a 9-minute and 37-second period. The Huskies then stayed in the game, went on an 8-2 run with Doug Wren scoring 5 of those 8 to get it within 10 at the half. Huskies finally got to within 2 behind Nate Robinson and the crew, making it 46-44, but USC has now spread it back out to a 9-point lead. Doug Wren hits the front end of his free throws.
As we said, he's shooting it much, much better, more confidence, much more solid mechanics. And if he can make this second free throw, the Washington Huskies can get into their 1-2-1-1 full court trap.
And with this free throw, Doug Wren has got himself a season high 19 points. The guy last year who averaged 20.
This time the Huskies go man-to-man.
Again, without their regular ball handler, the senior Robert Hutchinson, Derek Craven does much of the handling. Farmer's their leading scorer. Washington with an outlet to Nate Robinson. Are we going to see a 5-7 man dunk? Nope, he lays it in. Smart play.
Again, nice kick out to Robinson. He's just so quick in the game.
Nate Robinson with 7 points and 7 rebounds. Washington points in the paint. Huge advantage in the second half. Here comes Nate with his 8th rebound, a career high. Washington a little out of his element.
Little lack of experience here on Nate's part.
Block on Curtis Allen before the shot.
You got to know who can handle the ball at 15 feet and who can, and that was just a difficult position to put Anthony Washington in.
For basket, charge the foul number 20, Curtis Allen of the Huskies. First personal foul.
Good foul by Allen. Renzo Romar is saying exactly what you just heard out of Bill Cruger's mouth.
He's playing, he saw an open man, he had the angle, but you got to realize he's a 6'9" guy that doesn't have the ball going toward the basket. He needs the ball right at the basket.
Eric Craven. Free throw. 7 points, 9 boards, 3 assists. Not a good shooting night, though, for Eric. 3 of 12. And shooting just 39% on the year after last year shooting 45%. That's a case of not having the other guys around and now being scouted much more than you would regularly.
You can know these guys want to break guys down with the dribble. If you can keep them in front of you, you're going to have success. Not an easy task.
Every possession becoming much more important as we move under the 6-minute mark.
No change in the zone. That's the Trojans go through 2.
Doug Wren, step back 3. Filthy. 3-point game. And a steal.
Great step in by Anthony Washington.
Huskies within 1 as Will Conroy puts it in. As close as they've been all night.
Good decision. He made a jump stop instead of trying to take the ball all the way to the rim and get an offensive foul.
Henry Bibby wants a timeout. With 5:13 left, the Washington Huskies have gone on a 9-1 run to bring themselves back into this one. And they're doing it behind the guy that was first team All Pac-10 last year, Doug Wren.
And I felt all along, David, that he has to be the big-time scorer on this team. Even though he can do, Doug Wren can do a lot of things, but he needs to score. And that's what he's done. Since about 5 to 6 minutes left in the first half and going into the second half, he's been the Doug Wren of old. And they've been good shots. They haven't been poor shots.
Doug Wren has 22 points and 2 3 balls, including this one.
Again,
over the 6'11" O'Neal.
Well, he just didn't come out to take him, so Doug stepped back and knocked it down.
And Husky defense.
Great step in. Lorenzo Romar has done an outstanding job of teaching post defense, and that was a great job by Anthony to step in. And then, as I mentioned, Conroy breaking down against the press. He stops at about 8 feet rather than taking it to the rim and puts up a nice soft shot. That's where Will's had trouble. He's taken it too deep. That time he didn't.
11 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists for Will Conroy tonight.
Hasn't had a great shooting night, but he can fill up a stat sheet. He does a lot of things. He's a tough competitor, relentless, great defender, never quits, plays 40 minutes. I love the guy. Comes to play.
Is fatigue a factor for either side?
Well, you would have thought it would be the Huskies, but right now it looks like the Trojans are a little flat-footed. And what's happened? Lorenzo Romar has gotten us into a lower-scoring game. This is not going to be a 90-point game.
And Wren pulls it down. The Huskies have a chance to take their first lead since 2-0. Second opportunity, foul on Curtis.
How about Doug Wren taking over?
And Doug Wren will go back to the free throw line, where today he was 8 of 10 so far, after coming in 2 of 7 and shooting just 44% on the year.
I really didn't like his choice there. I thought he could have stopped and shot a little 8-footer off the glass, but you know what? He fouled a shot. The most dangerous rebounder on the floor is the shooter.
Look at Doug Wren. This is last year on the left from the free throw line. Nice form. He shot only 55%, but then he went and tried to fix it with Richard Hamilton, the member of the Washington Wizards, and ended up kind of messing it up and making it even worse. And tonight he's outstanding.
And we talked about it the last telecast we did. There's so much movement. When you have that many moving parts, you are not going to be able to shoot free throws in the clutch.
We're tied at 65 now. By the way, when he went to work with Hamilton, he was a Wizard. Now he's a Detroit Piston.
That's right.
How's that for covering myself?
Very good.
Doug Wren, 9 of 11 from the free throw line, and the Washington Huskies are up 1, their first lead since 2-0. They then proceeded to miss 15 straight shots after that. Curtis with a flush.
That was a great decision by Craven not to take it too deep. Nice pass, good angle.
Neither of these teams has won a game this year decided by 6 or less. Bobby Jones, number 15, here's a freshman. Conroy with a drive in the bucket.
Great head and shoulder fake. And again, Conroy didn't take it. One dribble too deep. Pulled up and shot the 8-footer.
Got 13. USC last year would turn it over to Clancy or maybe Granville. Or maybe Blumenthal. But all 3 have graduated. Who do they turn it over to now? Will it be the junior Farmer or Eric Craven?
Again, great job, and Doug Wren is the man. He is the player on the floor right now.
Doug Wren, 13 points, 24 points, and 10 rebounds. A double-double for Doug Wren, but he got a shot to the nose and needs a timeout. 3:49 left. The Washington Huskies trailed by as many as 18 to open the game. Check that, 19. They then found themselves down 9 with 7 minutes left. But now with 3:49 left, they lead by 1. It is clearly a tale of 2 halves tonight at Edmondson Pavilion, Bank of America Arena. USC 40-30 at halftime. The Huskies have outscored the Trojans by 11 in the second half to take a 1-point lead. It really did truly start, though, with about 3 minutes left in the first half, where the Huskies closed the half on an 8-2 run. They trailed by as many as 16.
And they put their miners hats on and just kept digging and got out of that mine. It's been a long, hard pull, but the Huskies are right there.
Their largest lead today has been 2-0. Conroy has been very big in the second half. Once again, Will Conroy with 15.
You know what's so impressive is that he has not allowed USC to shake his confidence. He did not have a good start this game, but he's found his shooting time.
8 points in the second half for Conroy. Nate Robinson guarding Derek Craven. Blocked, but goaltending. And USC's back within 1. Let me mention it again, because it will play a huge factor in the final 3 minutes. Neither of these teams has won a game this year decided by 6 or less. Zone, Conroy to bust it. Short.
About a step too far out right there. He's got to take a step in on the reverse.
Doug Wren rips it away from Nick Curtis. 3-on-1. Little Nate. Too much. And Conroy comes out with the rebound.
Conway is painting his nose for the basketball. Is unbelievable.
He's a gym rat. He just plays. For all we know, he'll be at Rainier Beach tonight playing in the open gym. And Nate turns it over. Turnover on Nate Robinson.
A lot of what happens with young teams, David, is what you mentioned. Growing up and trying to win close games, it comes down to being able to execute in the half court and get a quality shot. Who's going to be able to do that down the stretch?
13th turnover on Washington, 5th in the second half. Where does USC go with the ball, Bill?
They're going to look for Farmer.
Here's O'Neal.
That was a good quarterback. I was going to say that was a good job defending it. They pushed him out a step, but he's still able to knock it down. Young man's got a great shooting touch.
The sophomore from Little Ridgecrest, California, may be their answer down the stretch. Where does Washington go with the ball?
They got to find Doug Wren an opportunity.
Doug runs down by the baseline.
And that's tough when you got 3 on the bottom. I'd rather see him up in that high post area where they've got Anthony Washington, who's no threat up there.
Curtis with the erase. Against Gonzaga earlier this year, it was Will Conroy they went to in the big moments. He hit the 3 ball with 4 seconds left to force overtime. He had 32 in that game.
And Doug Wren's the guy, and they got to get him to basketball. In a spot that he's got a chance.
Well, there he has it. Way long. Conroy gets the rebound inside the trees, finishes and it's fouled. Washington by 1.
Just the nail on the head, David, talking about Will Conroy. He plays so much basketball. He knows where the ball's going to come off. He's very much like Gary Payton. Understands angles, understands where the ball's going to come off. He has no business getting a rebound down here in the store, but he did.
I'm not sure what he has less business doing, getting the rebound or finishing.
Well, he's probably the best conditioned player on the floor, too.
He doesn't hit the free throw, and Washington goes to 10 for 32 from the line compared to USC's 21 and 26. Henry Bibby calls a timeout. 22nd timeout with 1:22 left.
Huskies by 1.
72-71. Earlier this year for the USC Trojans, who have checked the timeouts, 2 timeouts left for USC, 2 for Washington. Possession arrow to USC, everybody shooting 2 free throws from here on out. Earlier this year for USC, they lost a close game to Missouri. That was one of their close games experiences. They lost that one by 6 against a pretty darn good Missouri team, 78-72. They also lost at Rhode Island, 73-71 in overtime.
And they made a basket at the buzzer that was disallowed. A lot of controversy. Could have won that ball game. But again, these are growing pains of a young team. They played without Hutchinson in the game against Missouri. So, you know, they're still looking for an identity, and I think a big part of that identity is going to be who's going to take over the point guard position for USC and control this very dynamic team.
Washington lost close games to Montana State, Gonzaga, and Eastern Washington. Now with 1:20 left, one of these teams will take a major step in their growth. O'Neal scored the last bucket for USC.
They ran the double, and Anthony got out and defended.
Great defense from Doug Wren, but back to O'Neal. Short rebound, tipped around, Conroy flying into the crowd. USC ball. Doug Wren got hit on the head as well there.
Again, just super hustle. Will Conroy giving up his body to try to get the ball back in play. They got to He's an unbelievable.
1 minute left to
Just
play.
35-second clock and a minute to play.
Good help right there by Bobby Jones, stepping out to cut off the baseline.
O'Neal trying to get something going. Can't. Derek Ravens, 14 on the clock. Too hard. Curtis with another rebound, but he can't finish this time. Nick Curtis with his 15th rebound of the game. And he'll get 2 free throws where he's been 10 of 13 at the line. Those of you enjoying this one right here, Washington
offense off of offensive rebounds and foul shots, but he is a great offensive rebounder.
The sixth lead change, all of them happening other than the USC burst after a 2-0 start by Washington here in the last 5 minutes. And now we're tied at 72, just our third tie. Is Lorenzo Romar drawing up the offensive play now that he comes out of so he doesn't need another timeout? What is the purpose of that timeout?
I think it's just to talk about exactly that. How are they going to attack USC? Maybe they're going to run something special to give Doug Rand an opportunity. I would think that that's what they'd be trying to do.
Mentioned it just a moment ago, Arizona and Oregon State coming up. Arizona's got the first step of that road trip where they win at Oregon at the Pit. How impressive is that without Luke Walton? Huskies will be down in Arizona with games on Thursday and Saturday here on Fox Sports Net. Bill and I will be in Tucson for you on Saturday. Husky Arizona State game will be on as well. In the meantime, Nick Curtis, the sophomore from Oxnard, whose mom calls Henry Bibby and says, "Toughen up, my son." This will toughen you up. On the road, tied, 36.5 seconds left. And Nate Robinson with the rebound.
Another part of that timeout is he froze the shooter. Made him think a little bit about that foul shot.
Nate Robinson's 9th rebound.
This is probably part of the timeout. They knew if he missed, they were going to try to draw them back out and force them to play a man-to-man. That's what Lorenzo's talking about. He's bringing them out of the zone.
Looks like they're calling a timeout with 10 seconds left, or they're going to start the offensive time. Here they go. Doug Rand. Still got time. Huskies lead. Bobby Jones, the freshman, puts the Huskies up 2 with 3 seconds left.
Timeout called by USC.
Timeout for Henry Bibby.
We came into this game talking about who was the best conditioned team, who had all the depth. Right now, the best conditioned team is the Washington Huskies. They've been more competitive, more active. Bobby Jones with a great play on the offensive glass, great finish.
How about the freshman from Compton, California, playing in school that's just down the road in USC? The freshman out of Long Beach Poly, who showed so much for the coaches by playing UCLA and not being scared on Thursday, to be in the game with a chance to finish tonight and getting the rebound to put the Huskies up 2. Huskies now in the second half, points in the paint advantage, 24-6, but there's 3 seconds left, and that is a lot of time. 20-second timeout taken by USC to extend this.
That's their final timeout.
So that is the final timeout by USC.
And they've got to draw something up where they can get the ball advanced, hopefully past the midcourt line, David. It gives them a little bit of time to make a play.
Doug Rand has brought the Huskies back with 24 points and 11 rebounds. The Huskies opened the game. They hit their first field goal, then they missed 15 straight after that. But since they've been shooting about 45%, points in the paint in the second half, we just mentioned 24-6, and the three-point field goals have not been falling for either side. Do the Trojans go for the win in a 3-ball here, or do they go for the tie?
Oh, you got to just try to get a good shot. Doesn't matter. They'll take a tie and go to overtime with 3 seconds. The big thing that Washington doesn't want to do is lose contact with your man. Try to stay in front of them. Make them take a long shot.
They will inbound underneath the Husky basket.
I think he wants the ball taken on the side.
Henry Bibby at half court going nuts. Craven is probably the best shooter along with Farmer. Craven wears 22, Farmer wears 33. Major confusion by USC who's without a timeout. Farmer's come down to get the ball and he may just go. Here's Craven. He stepped on the end line. He stepped on the end line. Husky ball with 2.1 seconds left. And Lorenzo Romar will use his final timeout.
about experience from both of these clubs, and obviously a lot of confusion for USC on what they were going to do. They used 2 timeouts and ended up finally getting the ball in bounds, and Creighton steps on the end line.
Turnover on the USC Trojans, their 17th of the game. 2.1 left, now they will foul. Washington's from the free throw line, been 20 of 32 today. Watch it here again, there's the step, the knee is in the way, but you can see clearly that he had stepped out of bounds with the left foot. And if you watch Lorenzo Romar, keep an eye on Romar, let's see if he's still in the screen. You'll get his reaction. If you keep rolling that, can you keep rolling that a little bit? Romar sees it, too bad he's not still in the screen. He'll dive to the ground and start patting the end line to try to work the call as well. Sorry, we couldn't get it in that shot for you, but you can see where Craven stepped on the end line. Now the question is, without any timeouts left, can Washington get the ball in?
That's the big challenge. You got to draw something up, make sure you get a solid inbound screen, and get the ball to your best foul shooter. That's the hope.
One thought I would make on this, if I'm Lorenzo Romar, I would say to my guy, if you don't have someone there, at least throw the ball in, because nobody has any timeouts left, and you're on this half of the court. So if you at least throw it up, the minute it gets tapped, the clock starts running. It'd be very hard for USC to get anything done. Doug Wren to inbound. And we have a foul before the inbound on Smiley, which is his 5th. And Roydell Smiley, the junior from Seattle, Washington, coming home, so excitement. He had numerous fans here, including a group right behind the USC bench. Finishes the day 1 of 7 with just 2 points. Reminder coming up next, Arizona and Oregon State. And Arizona with an early lead. Saturdays are tough on road teams in the Pac-10. Look at that one, Arizona, Oregon State. You'd think easy ball game. Nothing's easy on a Saturday for a road team in the Pac-10.
It's a very strong league, very competitive, very balanced. And everybody's tough at home. The league's really spread out geographically.
So Will Conroy is 74% free throw shooter this season. 3 of 5 from the line tonight. 17 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists. With the majority of that, 10 of those points and 5 of those rebounds coming in the second half. And he hits the free throw. Now comes the important one.
The next one is the dagger, and USC has no timeout.
Washington by 4. Under Lorenzo Romar are able to step forward and get their first close game win of the season.
Unbelievable comeback, shows the great character that Lorenzo Romar has built.
So for Bill Kruger and the crew in the truck, I'm David Locke saying so long from Bank of America Arena with the final score, Washington 76, USC 72.